The CME Group. It's Oliver Sloup with Blue Line Futures joining us here today to talk about these markets. Now, what do you make of today's grain market?
You know, it's been relatively quiet. I think the most constructive thing out there is probably that wheat complex. We know that the colder temperatures and drier weather have been offering support here and probably prompting some of these funds who have a net short position to cover some of that also ahead of next week's USDA report. So I think that's encouraging. However, I would take it with a grain of salt and maybe look at tempering those expectations as the rallies have failed for the better part of the last 6 to 7 months in this wheat market. We're primarily looking at Chicago. The March contract 443 3/4 is a 100-day moving average. I think that might be an opportunity for producers to look at taking some risk off the table. Now, as far as the corn market goes, really just kind of a stick in the mud. We ran up against that 50-day moving average, 354 3/4, failed to get out above that. If you recall, that's something we haven't closed above since July, so seeing some selling come back into the market, but relatively quiet. 350 continues to be a magnet until we get a new fundamental catalyst to give us a new directional move other than sideways.
Oliver, what about soybeans? Because everybody's been commenting about the South American weather. Right now, kind of hot and dry, but there's rain in the forecast.
Yeah, I think some of that weather has been kind of digested into the market. Now we're just trading in a little bit of a range here, 960 to 970, give or take a little bit. There's a key retracement at 971 3/4. The chart does look ugly, but I do think that if we get some of these weather concerns coming back into the market, potentially we can see this market work back to the upside. 985 to 986 is kind of a target we're looking at. It's a 50% retracement as well as a 100-day moving average. And if you're concerned about the futures and the swings in the futures markets into that USDA report, there's some cheap call options, relatively speaking, to look at to the upside.
Oliver Sloup with Blue Line Futures here with us.